The results of the UP Panchayat elections are very interesting. Samajwadi Party has done pretty well for themselves.
आने वाले 2022 के विधानसभा चुनाव में आम आदमी पार्टी उत्तर प्रदेश में चुनाव लड़ेगी.
Sources close to CNN News 18 now saying that the BSP and the AIMIM could be headed for a Bihar-like alliance for the 2022 UP polls.
Well, after the West Bengal verdict has been done and dusted, all eyes on the next big assembly elections, and that's Uttar Pradesh. Now, Uttar Pradesh elections are going to become very critical, not just for the BJP, but for the other stakeholders as well. I'm Pallavi Ghosh, and my one take asks this question this week: is UP going to be the next junk between the opposition and the BJP? Now, normally what happens is that when Panchayat results come out, the results actually go in favor of the party which is in power in the state. Now, if you look at the recently concluded Panchayat election results in Uttar Pradesh, it came as a bit of a surprise and I would say a bit of a setback for the BJP. The Samajwadi Party, which for example was being seen as being nowhere on the picture and for their lackluster style of campaigning and existence in the state, did very well. And that has boosted up the morale of the cadre of the Samajwadi Party. The BSP, often accused of being the B team of the BJP, also did a good performance. Of course, lagging behind were the Congress Party and the Aam Aadmi Party, but they were not completely out of the picture. Now, the Samajwadi Party, of course, has a reason to cheer because they feel that they're very much back into the picture once again. Now, the BJP's performance has certainly not been up to the mark, especially considering that they're the party in power in the state with a huge mandate. Which is why I'm asking this question this week on the Uttar Pradesh elections. Now, that's of course going to be a high-profile one. You know, it's very much said, and it's a cliche of sorts now, that the one who goes and wins Uttar Pradesh also wins Delhi, which is why it mattered so much for the BJP to come up with a superb performance in the state. Now, if you look at the UPA also in 1 and 2, they did very well in Uttar Pradesh, and then it was completely downhill. At this point of time, they have, for example, in Congress has only one member of parliament in Uttar Pradesh. The Samajwadi Party, the UP ke ladke's narrative did not click at all, and it was seen as a huge mandate. Now, what the BJP is hoping is that the Ram Mandir issue, the construction which has begun, that the Bhumi Pujan which has been done, in which the Prime Minister was also present, would have a huge impact in a state where caste and religion matters. But the Panchayat electoral results also came in the backdrop of the huge COVID crisis, not just in every part of the country, but more importantly in UP. The figures are coming up and they are shooting up by the day. Horrific stories really coming out of every state, almost every state I would say, and also of Uttar Pradesh. It's a high profile state because it matters to the BJP. The Prime Minister's constituency is also there in UP. High profile ministers in the cabinet are also from Uttar Pradesh. For example, Rajnath Singh is a member of parliament from Lucknow. Smriti Irani, the one who fought back, defeated Rahul Gandhi, the member of parliament from Amethi, and therefore Uttar Pradesh results will become very critical. But will COVID have an impact? Do health issues actually really matter in our country? It is often shown that immediately it doesn't. Critical issues which should actually become poll issues don't matter. Maybe by the time the elections are held in Uttar Pradesh, the situation improves in a country and people would forget. That's the calculation of our netas, that people will soon forget what the COVID crisis was all about, or the huge stories of death and of crisis and tragedy in the family. Will that be enough? Will the Samajwadi Party and the Congress Party actually hope to gain, I'm sorry to use that word, but hope to actually, in political parlance, gain from the situation on the ground? They certainly hope so. We haven't seen Akhilesh Yadav very much out there in the state as much we perhaps should have been. Remember when the series of rape and the Hathras incident happened, he was not very much there in the field. That space was captured really by the Congress Party, by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra to a very great extent, who happens to be the UP state in charge as well. That was a criticism of Akhilesh Yadav, that he's not a full-time politician. He's just not there when he should have been on the ground. And he, like the BJP, does have a cadre system, but the cadre is not to be seen out. And if the leader is not seen to be up and about, then how do you expect us to work hard? Now, with these kind of Panchayat results, perhaps there's a hope that, the cadre will be enthused, they'll be up and about, and they're going to hope that this is going to be a mandate which would go in their favor. What could be a setback to the BJP, of course, is if they don't win Uttar Pradesh. because just 2 years after that is the Lok Sabha elections. And as I said, the road to Delhi often passes through Lucknow and the distance has become shorter. And already the opposition now seems to be training its eyes on the next big assembly elections, and that's Uttar Pradesh. We know, for example, Mamata Banerjee has made it very clear, even in her victory speech, that, we now need to all work together to ensure that democracy succeeds in our country. Just recently, for example, ABHISHEK Banerjee had actually flown down to Chennai for the oath-taking ceremony of Stalin. There's a messaging there that the opposition is going to come together. And that's going to be a big test case. See, in West Bengal, it was largely a single fight by Mamata Banerjee. Uttar Pradesh is a more complicated game. First, BJP has a very powerful card over there. Second factor, of course, is that SP, BSP, Congress, all of them are divided. Will they really come together? And will Mamata Banerjee be able to actually give that kind of a support? Maybe not. Maybe that is being over-enthusiastic or perhaps over-optimistic about what the chances of opposition unity can be. But, as we start wrapping up and I'm getting those social media reactions, most of them are cynical. They feel that UP perhaps results will not be impacted so much by the COVID crisis because the Chief Minister understands that and is going to try and get hands-on this. And also a fragmented opposition. The SP, BSP are unlikely to come together. Too much of rancor between the SP and the Congress party. Each will want to assert the individual identity. The other players like the TMC or DMK, they are not North Indian parties. They'll not understand the Hindi heartland politics. And therefore, Uttar Pradesh is going to be dur-ast as far as the opposition unity is concerned. Do give in your reactions. Tell us your response on the social media, whether Uttar Pradesh becomes the next big poll litmus test and what it means for every political party and the stakeholders.